thinner than you are. That you look so much thinner. So I would take the short one over the weight one.
I don't care. Listen, y'all can think I'm fat. I don't care. Just stop thinking I'm 5'5". They out here thinking I'm Deontay, and I'm not. It ain't right.
Again, you still live in Ohio?
The graphics department's not helping me out here.
Yeah. They say the same thing to me too, Jim.
You look thinner in person.
Yeah, you look thinner.
Well, isn't that the thing about TV?
Yeah.
Don't they say
No, this is the thing. People are a little more nervous, so they say stupid stuff.
Oh.
Right? So it's like, oh, you look, really? You think so?
Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, their record 4 games in is 1-2-1, mostly due to a lack of a running game, perhaps some in-house struggles, and one of the worst defenses in the league, but only those things. The Steelers are currently 30th in yards allowed, 26th in points allowed. Say it, Nick.
That ain't great.
There you go. Steelers captain Cam Hayward had some harsh words for his teammates.
This defense isn't about making plays, it's about doing your job. And that's for everybody out there. It's not just one guy. I don't give a damn if I never get a sack again. But if everybody else does their job and we get off the field, so be it. The same mistakes will happen throughout the year. And if we don't grow and we don't move on and put ourselves in better positions, then we're not going to be a successful team. I don't look for big speeches. I just look for production. I look for guys to step up. You know, the kitchen's hot right now, and, you know, everybody's looking to get out, you know, so we got to get to work, and we got to settle it down. Either buy in or don't get on the field.
All right, Coach, what do you think? Can the Steelers contend this year if they don't fix that defense?
I think anybody would want Cam Hayward on their team. What he said is 100% accurate, 100% true. A truer overview of what the problems are couldn't have been given, and that's always the issue. When you're playing defense and guys are thinking, I'm going to make a play. Typically they do, but it's for the other team because they're not in their right gap. They're not in their right area of coverage. They're selfish because they want to, you know, for whatever reason, and it doesn't work. It only works if everybody works together, and when it doesn't, sometimes guys will say, well, the scheme's not right. You know, well, the scheme is fine if you run it correctly. And Cam said, if we want to grow, we've got to fix the problems that have been happening over and over again. Yeah, that's true, but that takes everybody committing to what is supposed to happen. The plays will come if it's run correctly, but you got no chance when you've got 9 guys doing it one way and 2 guys doing it a different way.
This is the do your job mantra, right? Essentially, like, that's what it boils down to is don't worry about, like, Belichick famously, we've seen him in so many videos, do your job.
Do the job that I tell you to do. Don't do what you want to do, because there's a lot of people out there, I'm working hard. No. Dennis Green used to tell us this. You might not like your role, but don't dare come to my office and talk about another role unless you mastered the one that I thought was best for you, for this team. You master that role, then you come back to me, I might add to it. He said, I might add to it. But the assignment that I give you is what is best for the team, and I need you to buy into that. That's what they're talking about. It's not about doing your job. Do what I tell you to. Bill Parcells tells me, hey, Chris, you want to get the coach's attention? And, man, I repeat this to all my kids. And they're like, yeah, I want to get the coach's attention. Do what I tell you to do. So it's another version of do your job, but do exactly in the way I want you to do it exactly that way without questioning that.
And not to bring up the Pats again, but what that reminded me of is what happened with Jamie Collins with the Patriots last year. Pats defense was terrible. Jamie Collins statistically was their best front 7 defender, and they got rid of him. And from afar, I said, what the hell are they doing? Why would your defense is a problem. Jamie Collins clearly is talented, but what the stories around the team were, he was freelancing. One of the reasons they were bad, but his individual tackles for loss or sack numbers were good, was he was breaking what his job was to try to go to what you're saying,
a lot of times, Nick, it's when you're playing a 34 or something like he was in, the guards are uncovered. So the guard might have a free shot at you. So Jamie Collins, he's got to read to take control of a gap. What he decides is, you know what, I'm going to dodge this dude. I'm going to give him a shoulder, so it makes the gap bigger And sometimes he was able to avoid that guard and make the tackle. The coaches don't want that. They want you to take that guard on and your responsibility. And if there's no play, or someone else will make the play, and that's the way defensive football is taught and performed, right, Coach?
I used to get so frustrated with assistant coaches when they give an attaboy to someone who does something that's not within the scheme but makes a play. Because for every time that works, there's 6 or 7 times that it doesn't work. And if as a coach you say, it's okay to do that as long as you make the play, you can't then criticize the guy when he doesn't make the play. So you've got to be consistent in your coaching if you want to have a coordinated, solid approach.
Yeah, I'm not going to apologize for using this example because I think that it's a great example. Junior Seau, one of the great men, and God rest his soul, one of the great linebackers, one of the great freelance players we ever had in pro football. When he went to New England, he stopped doing that. He stopped jumping around blocks. He stopped blitzing. Oh, Coach, I saw the guard leaning. I knew he was going to pull, so I blitzed in there and got in behind him and make the play. No, he surrendered all that to doing things by a system late in his career so he would have the chance to be a champion.
All right, so when we're talking about the Steelers, what could they do? How do they fix the defense that they currently have right now besides doing their job better?
Well, it's hard to fix a defense unless people do commit to doing what they're supposed to do. And that's a huge challenge because sometimes you may be poor defensively and you have to change the scheme or you have to address certain things within the scheme. But if the scheme isn't being run correctly, you never get to fix the problem. And it happens sometimes on the sidelines where guys will come off the field and you say, what happened? Were you in your gap? And they, yeah, of course I was, of course I was. And then you go to the film on Monday and the guy wasn't in his gap. So you may throw something out and you threw it out because the guy didn't do the right thing, not because the scheme was wrong. And now you're just, it's like you're trying to plug holes, but the holes, you never know where the next one's going to come in. So it's got to start with, are they doing what they're supposed to do the right way? And then if that's flawed, then you change the scheme.
You need a total buy-in. That's the first thing you need by the defensive players and especially their leaders. The one thing I like about what's going on in Pittsburgh, and I believe that it's easier to get it turned around, when you got your big people, your offense and defensive linemen who are the least interviewed, the least amount of attention, and guys who typically are the least selfish on the team, we've heard from their offensive line. Now we're hearing from Cam from their defensive line. If your offense and defensive line are talking compared to your DBs and wide receivers, I think there's a better chance of you getting it fixed. So first we need a buy-in. The other thing I'd like to see is I want to see Tomlin participate in the defense a little more. All right, because when you have made your money as a defensive coach and you're going to get blamed, I think like Belichick, like Tony Dungy, you need to go over there and be more hands-on. I believe that's going to happen. And the third thing, man, the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they just got to be more of a team. All right? Like they need to have one team meeting and be like, man, I'm for you and you be for me. The old team concept, 53 guys going one way, everybody bailing water compared to guys trying to jump out of the boat. And that's what we see with the Pittsburgh Steelers sometimes.
And to answer the original question, which is, if they don't get it fixed, are they still contenders in the AFC? I would argue because it's the AFC, and I look at the teams that are no question contenders, Kansas City Chiefs. They have as many defensive problems as Pittsburgh, if not more. Jacksonville Jaguars, they got these same exact problems, but they're on the other side of the ball. That team has a great defense and very questionable offense. The Patriots, we don't really know what they're great at right now, aside from having Tom Brady and figuring things out. Like, there isn't a team in the AFC this year. I looked last year. The Eagles, well-rounded, not a lot of weaknesses. The Vikings, I felt that way. This year in the NFC, the Rams, I certainly feel that way. Every team that we think could make noise in the AFC, I look to that has a flaw as glaring as Pittsburgh's right now.
Well, the one thing we do know about New England is they're the best team in October over the last 18 years, so yes, they should continue to grow. The Steelers, what is frustrating is each week it's a different area that there seems to be a problem, and whether it's, you know, the running back, or complaining about the running back, or complaining about not getting enough passes, or the defense of the assignment. Like, let's push all that aside and just focus on moving forward to the next game and take personal accountability. What can I do better as a player to make this better, as opposed to what can Chris do better, what can Nick do better? Forget about that. What can you do better Jenna, you're doing a good job.
I'm good, apparently.
Yeah. But what can you do better to make this situation move forward and grow?
Well, the Steelers defense will definitely have their hands full. They take on the Atlanta Falcons this weekend. Coach, thanks so much.